Devised: Balancing Life and Technology in a Digital World by Doreen Dodgen-Magee. Narrated by Suzanne Barbetta. Introduction. How to listen to this book. Full disclosure. When I read books, I usually skip everything before the first chapter. Stop with the prefaces, forewords, and introductions already, I think, as I flip to the good stuff. While you may feel the same and be tempted to skip this, I promise that it is important stuff. I have resisted writing this book for years. As a psychologist devoted to helping people live bold, embodied lives, I have a passion for inspiring people within a shared physical space. For a long time, I pursued this passion in an office with individual clients whose work was inspirational and deep. To manage a growing wait list, I began offering classes and group sessions based on topics such as parenting and developing a healthy sense of self. The unique dynamism of a gathering of people interacting with information and learning from and supporting each other was notable. Enthused by these early communal experiences, I began to take every opportunity to engage groups around topics that might help them grow. Putting people and meaningful information in a room together became a favorite activity of mine. Simply by being together, we pushed one another to engage the material more deeply, and profound levels of change in individuals and families took place. During the same time, my husband was employed in the high-tech industry, and our children and their friends were getting cell phones. My life among these early technology adopters and influencers allowed me to witness the rapid and full-scale embrace of technology in work, education, and personal spaces. I also was experiencing firsthand the way in which play and interaction among children changed as digital devices entered their worlds. Combining these observations and experiences with my doctoral training in human development, I found myself keenly interested in exploring how technology might impact healthy developmental trajectories for individuals, families, and communities. As engagement with technology and digital spaces became an ever-growing part of my life and the lives of everyone around me, I began to confirm that, while beautiful and full of potential, tech engagement had the capacity to be a major disruptor to the development of self and social relatedness. So convinced was I that anything short of a moderate embrace of technology would have a significant impact on human development that I started looking for research. In those early days, however, well-constructed academic research on the topic was hard to find. I began asking my own questions of just about any expert willing to talk. At the same time, I developed patterns of keeping in touch with technology trends and culture's adoption of them. Coalescing the results of the emerging research, anecdotal information I was gathering, and themes in pop culture, I put together a talk for a local elementary school about how parents' willingness to set intentional norms around technology use might set the stage for healthy development. Like a match to dry tinder, the message took. In the 15 years since, with no marketing effort, I've been honored to engage with thousands of audiences about how digital devices are shaping us in positive, negative, and neutral ways. I spend, on average, 15 hours per week culling academic journals, chasing down information on high-tech trends, and staying current with popular culture themes. I also spend as much time as possible talking with people of all ages, ethnicities, and cultural groups about how experiences in digital spaces are shaping them. Basically, I start conversations, I listen and research, and I try to provide reliable information to keep the conversation going about being devised. Which brings me back to why I have resisted writing this book. I became a psychologist because I prefer to share information within a shared physical space more than I prefer to write about it. To that end, I have traveled from boardrooms to PTA meetings to university lecture halls to spiritual retreat centers across the United States and abroad. I have led auditoriums of middle schoolers through mindfulness meditations and introduced kinetic sand and pipe cleaners as fidget toys during talks to executive staff members of large corporations. I have gotten on my knees and asked the forgiveness of young adults for my generation's smack-talking about them and have begged parents to play video games with their children. I've also intentionally learned how to use devices and mindfully engage their ever-changing technology. I've texted and tweeted ideas for living more embodied lives and blogged about current trends. I've posted well-constructed and reviewed research on social media to encourage more mindful tech use, and more. Even still, those with whom I am honored to share the message often ask, "Where is the book? Where can I find more about the impact of being deviced?" So, here it is, with one caveat. By the time this book is in your hands, the technologies referred to within will have changed and morphed and advanced beyond what I can currently imagine or ever hope to describe here. I have decided to publish the book anyway, knowing there are some principles, talking points, and considerations that transcend the specifics of what technology is hot this minute or being released next week. The bottom line is this: technology and digital devices are here to stay. Oversimplified all-or-none approaches to understanding or engaging digital devices encourages avoidance of the kinds of thoughtful considerations or meaningful discussions that might make our use healthier and less harmful. Saying that technology is all bad or all good does nothing to address the reality that it is beautifully potent and rife with both positive and pain-inducing potential, with virtue and vice. Denial of its presence or blind constant use can be similarly harmful. When a parent, therapist, or physician says to me, "I don't believe in texting," or "I have no idea what," insert the name of the newest hot app, is, I feel a deep sense of sadness and frustration. This is not completely unlike the sadness I feel when a college student tells me, "Playing violent video games has no effect on me," or a high school student says, "I don't believe in making or answering phone calls." Not believing in things that absolutely exist and are profoundly shaping us is no longer an option. As humans who share space in this world and who are impacted by technological advances every day, it is our responsibility to understand the complexity of the issues at hand. Therapists or physicians not knowing the digital landscape their clients and patients are swimming in is akin to their not knowing about family dynamics or public health risks. Parents not dipping their toes in the digital waters their children are birthed into is, in my opinion, neglectful at best. Similarly, gamers or texters unwilling to consider data regarding the impact of their use are not immune from effects. To be healthy as individuals and communities, we benefit by being willing to look at the issue of how technology is impacting us from all sides, and doing so with a measure of grace and openness. This will allow us to use the best of technology in ways that maintain our health as individuals and communities, and to seek ways to curb the kind of use that may harm us. This does not mean that being open to such complexities is easy. Much difficulty occurs because, in discussing technology, wild assumptions often guide our discourse. It's easier to rattle off opinions than to search for actual data. It's human nature to assume one's assumptions are accurate, rather than to tolerate the complexity of new information and different opinions. It's most comfortable to assume that my experience and insights are right, and those that differ are wrong. Binary thinking is unconscious and automatic. Having invested more than a decade initiating and engaging in these conversations with extremely diverse groups of humans, however, I can say that there are few all-or-none assumptions that can be safely applied to our considerations of the impact of our technology use. Therefore, I encourage you to listen to this book with an open mind and heart. Rather than reading through the lenses of your pre-existing biases, which will lead you to either nod in strong approval, passing the book on to your friends and neighbors, or shake your head, tossing the book aside without much thought.